So, hi everyone. So, in our last presentation session, we covered the concepts on social audit. So, firstly, we covered what do you mean by social responsibility. Then later on, we covered different views with respect to a concept called as social responsibility. Then, how you can apply social responsibility or how you can fulfill social responsibility towards different groups. It can be stakeholders, it can be employees, it can be the government, that is state. In the last topic we covered is social audit. It is completely different than compared to economic evaluation. It is somewhat like social evaluation. How successfully you are fulfilling the social responsibility that will be audited, that will be analyzed and audited. So there were many benefits with respect to social audit, and also there were some limitations. But compared to the benefits, limitations can be it is nullifiable, and also it is very negligible because that is the amount of gain you will be getting with respect to the benefits of social audit. So in this particular presentation session, we shall continue the topics of social responsibility, that is business ethics and corporate governance. So we shall try to understand what do you mean by business ethics, how the government is ensuring a particular organization or a company is following business ethics. Then later on we shall see what is corporate governance. So how corporate governance will have an impact on the market of a particular country. It can be stock market or it can be any other open market. So if your stock market or any other open market is running in a correct manner, or we can say visible manner, in a proper manner, then it will ultimately lead to the efficient working of a economic condition of a particular country. Those are the things we are going to see in this particular presentation session. First, we shall try to understand what do you mean by business ethics. So as you can see from the definition, business ethics is nothing but once you are running your business, you should apply moral principles while you are running your business. There should be some morality when you are running a business. So without morality, you cannot run any business. So this question of ethics, this question of business ethics, it will go behind the legality purpose. That means the government will impose some restrictions. There will be some legality from the government end. Apart from the restrictions imposed by the government, a organization should also follow some ethics, some business ethics. That is, you should know what is good or bad. So whenever you're taking up any decisions, you should analyze your decisions whether that decision has been taken in an ethical manner, whether it is proper enough, whether it won't exploit other people, it won't be giving any you are not taking the decisions in any bad intention. So that is called as business ethics. You are adding some morality while running your business. That is called as business ethics. So therefore, an action you are taking, it might be legally correct. You are adhering to the norms set by the government, but you are taking the decision not in a ethical manner. So you might be legally correct, but you may not be ethically correct. So you should be legally as well as ethically correct whenever you are making a business decision. So just to give an example, we can see, suppose if there is a small village which is located 20 miles away from an urban shopping area. So that is the only shop available for that particular small village. Then that particular grocery owner will start selling the products to that village people at a higher price. So here you are not following the ethics because you know that that particular village has no other option. They has to purchase the products at this particular grocery shop only. Hence, you are increasing the price of that particular product so that they will buy eventually. But that should not happen because you are not running a business ethically. You might be running it legally, but you are not running your business ethically. So this should not happen. This can be example that can be given for business ethics. So I can say business ethics is the application of moral principles whenever you are running a particular business. That is called as business ethics. So some more example we can consider sexual harassment, discrimination in pay and promotion. You should not discriminate since a particular person is close to you. You should not discriminate them based on pay or giving any promotions. You should always pay them based on the skills they possess. So these are all the things we can say that's come under the category of business ethics. So especially discrimination against women in pay and promotion is very much unethical. So in order to ensure this does not happen in any organization, an act was proposed in the year 1976. That particular act is called as Equal Remuneration Act, where one of the most common reason that was given with respect to inequality in remuneration pay is called as glass ceiling effect. That is, even though women possess the necessary skills and the necessary requirement that is needed for promotion or any increase in pay, they were deliberately being demoted, or they were deliberately being given lesser pay than compared to their counterpart. This is called as glass ceiling effect. So they were not able to progress higher in the organization. So they were not able to push themselves into the senior management level positions. So this can be considered as going against the ethical manner. So this should not happen. In order to avoid such unethical manner, an act was proposed that is called as Equal Remuneration Act, which was proposed in the year 1976. So when a manager who is running an organization, he has to decide what is ethical and what is unethical. So how you can decide whether I'm moving in the correct direction, whether I'm taking decisions which are ethical enough. How you can recognize? You can consider these four important factors in order to decide whether he is taking the decisions in an ethical manner or not. The first major factor you can consider is government legislation. That is, as you can see here, this act comes under the government legislation. So if a manager is properly following all the government legislation, then we can say that the manager is taking the decisions in an ethical manner, is not moving in any unethical direction. And also there will be some business codes that will be set up whenever you're starting a business. So if you are voluntarily are being part of this particular business code, then we can say that you are moving in a ethical direction. But usually these business codes will be ignored in practice. They will be only on paper. They won't be implemented into practice. But that should not happen, because if you are doing that, then you are moving in unethical way. So which is not the right way if your organization is following the business ethics. And pressure groups, usually if you follow any uh, uh, unethical practices such as employing child labor in order to develop your product, in order to produce your product, so those kind of products will be prohibited in other countries, especially the countries which strictly follow ethical rules. They will reject the products which are coming from country which are developed using child labor. So those products will be neglected in the Western countries. So pressure groups. So if you are making sure that those products are also getting sold in the Western countries, that means you are adhering to the norms given by the pressure groups. So you are moving in that particular correct ethical direction. And also the personal values of the manager himself. A manager might be having strong personal values, strong ethical values, but in order to achieve the company's goals, in order to reach the company profit level, he might be in a dilemma. He might be in a dilemma that he becomes unethical, so that his company reaches the position, his company wants him to perform in that particular direction. That should not happen. A manager should always adhere to his personal values. So as you can see here, even though if there are any bias, even though if there are any religion or any business needs, a manager should be true to his convictions, and he should always go according to that particular conviction. He should not pay heed himself to the temptations. So whenever he is taking any decisions, there should not be any conflict in taking those decisions. He should always take those decisions according to his personal values, which will be ethical enough. So these are the four major factors a manager can consider whenever he is taking a decision. When he considers these four factors, whenever he is taking a decision, then it can be quite sure that the manager is moving in the ethical direction, in the ethical way. The four major factors were government legislation, business codes, pressure groups, the personal values of the manager himself. So far what we have covered, we covered what do you mean by business ethics? Business ethics is nothing but whenever you are running a business, you should apply moral principles to your business. You should know what is good or bad. It is behind the question of legality. You might be running your business in a legal manner, but it should be ethical enough. So as you can see, these are the four major factors you can employ in your decision making process in order to become ethical. So the next topic in this particular presentation session is corporate governance. Now we shall try to see what is corporate governance. So what are all the decisions taken by a particular committee, that too in UK, with respect to corporate governance, how corporate governance will act as a benefit to the market, that is stock market, open market, eventually acting as a benefit to the entire country, that we are going to see in this particular topic. So what actually do you mean by corporate governance? Corporate governance is to decide to what extent the companies are running in an open and honest manner. So whether the companies are running in an open and honest manner with respect to all the stakeholders. There are many stakeholders with respect to a company. Explained what do you mean by stakeholders in the last presentation session. I also explained the different stakeholders that are involved in an organization. So whether the company or an organization is running in an open and honest manner in the best of interest of all the stakeholders, that we are going to see with respect to corporate governance. How you can achieve corporate governance? You can achieve corporate governance by following two major principles, that is transparency, and the second one is accountability. What do you mean by transparency? Whenever you are running your company, you should not hide anything. It should be transparent enough. An outsider who comes to your company should see that you are running your company in a transparent manner without any bias. And also it should be accountable. Accountable means you should maintain system of checks and balances. What all you are getting, how the income you are getting, how you are spending that particular income, what all profits you are making, what all losses you are making. That accountability, that system of checks and balance needs to be maintained. Who will maintain that particular accountability? The board of directors, the auditor, and many other stakeholders can involve in order to maintain that transparency and accountability. Once you run your organization in a transparent and accountable manner, then that means you are running your company in an open and honest manner, and thereby you are following the principle called as corporate governance. So usually one particular situation happened in Britain due to many corporate scandals in the early 1990s. So later in 1991, they formed a committee. That committee was formed under the chairmanship of Sir Adrian Cadbury. He prepared a code for best corporate governance. So some of the recommendations of that particular committee given by Adrian Cadbury are as listed below. He gave four major recommendations. That is, the non-executive directors. Who are non-executive directors? Usually these are the people who are at the top level management. They are the people who will be making the policies, procedures, plans. They will be usually at the top level management. They won't be getting involved in the organization for day-to-day activities. They will only be involved with the organization for making major policies, for making major policy procedures, for making major plans. They are found at the top level management. These people will usually make decisions on what strategy to use, how performance can be evaluated, what resources they can use in order to get maximum benefit. That will be decided by the non-executive directors. These non-executive directors should be picked through a formal selection process. Only based on merits, you need to pick these non-executive directors. So if you follow this particular recommendation, then this is one of the step for a particular organization to move towards corporate governance. Usually, companies will have some remuneration committees. These committees, what they will do, they will decide what the remuneration that has to be set for a particular individual. They will have some criteria. Based on that particular criteria, they will set up the remuneration. This remuneration committee will usually consist of non-executive directors. They are the people who will be making all the decisions with respect to remuneration committees. And also your company should have audit committees. The audit can be in terms of financial audit, also it can be social audit. This committee should also contain three non-executive directors. They will be reporting all the financial and social related things. So if this is happening regularly in a particular company or an organization, then it is moving in the right direction of corporate governance. And also this audit partners or audit committee should be rotated, because usually when you appoint some people in a particular committee for a longer period of time, there might be chances that those set of people will start moving in unethical direction. That's why you should keep rotating that particular audit committee members such that proper transparency and accountability is ensured. So if you follow all these four major recommendations given by this particular committee, then the company can surely say that they are moving in the direction of corporate governance. So if you follow these particular principles, then the stock exchange, for example, it can be Bombay Stock Exchange, National Stock Exchange, or London Stock Exchange. So they require the companies to report the annual report. It can be how much revenue they are making, how much investment they are getting. If they report all these things to that particular stock exchange, then the market transparency becomes visible. So once the market transparency becomes visible, it will be easier to attract many number of investors. Many investors will start investing in those companies because they have given all their details to the stock exchange. Thus, it will improve the transactions that will take place in the stock market, and thereby it will push money into the market. Once money gets pushed into the market, ultimately the economic growth of a country will also improve to a greater extent. So some of the benefits that we can get with respect to good corporate governance are, as I had already said, it will improve the confidence of the market. So once confidence of market gets increased, the market will flow in a positive direction. And also, if a company gives all the balance sheet, what are all the investment they are making, what are all the expenditure, what are all the profits, what are all the losses they are making, if it gives all that details, then you will be getting long-term trust with respect to that particular company. Once long-term trust is established in a particular company, the shareholder will be interested to invest in that particular company. He sees that particular company to be corporately, socially responsible and in the direction of corporate governance. So if the company follows all these things, then obviously the company's share price will also increase, because the individual has trust on that particular company. If an individual has trust on that particular company, many number of individuals will start investing to that particular company, ultimately leading to the increase in that particular company's share price. So once the company gives the financial reports, the integrity of that particular company will be highlighted. So how they are ethical enough, how they are integral enough, that will be highlighted. So companies' financial report that are given to stock exchange will reflect what that particular company is. So the corporate security will be enhanced. So it maximizes the corporate security. We can say that more number of people will come into the market, and thereby they will take the market to the upper side rather than the market getting down to many unethical ways. It will move in the upper direction. So the top level management people also, it limits their liability. You cannot blame top level management people for giving wrong information. So the liability of top level management people will be limited, because they will be making proper decisions once they are giving the proper information. So this will act as a boon for the market and eventually for the country. So these are the 6 major points. And the last one is strategic thinking happens at the top by inducting independent director who bring a wealth of experience. That means, so if a particular organization appoints employees, appoints managers with experience and some new ideas, then it will lead to better thinking and better strategical goals being formed. Once better strategical goals are getting formed, then the chances of those goals getting achieved will be very much high. So if chances of that goals getting achieved is high, then obviously the profit after achieving those goals will be high. Once the profit will be high, the shareholders will be getting benefited from those profits. If the shareholders are getting benefited, then the money gets pushed into the market. So thereby the economic impact of the country also better move in a positive direction. So these are the 6 major benefits with respect to good corporate governance. So far in this particular presentation session, we covered what is business ethics, how you can apply moral principles to your business problems, that is called as business ethics, how you can ensure business ethics. So especially with respect to humans, there was an act being passed, that is Equal Remuneration Act. So this particular act ensured that you are giving equal remuneration to both the people, that is male and female, and also how a manager can decide whether he is moving in the ethical direction or unethical direction. There are 4 major factors. So if the manager follows these 4 major factors, he is surely moving in ethical direction. This is called as business ethics. Then later on we saw corporate governance, how a company can say that it is in the direction of corporate governance. If it is following transparency and accountability, then we can surely say that it is following corporate governance. So a particular committee that was set up by Adrian Cadbury gave major recommendation. If you follow these 4 major recommendations, then the company is moving in the direction of corporate governance. The company, if it has been listed in the stock exchange, then it needs to give the stock exchange all the necessary needed information. If all the necessary needed information are given to the stock exchange by the company, then you can obtain this many number of benefits. This only happens if good corporate governance is followed in a particular company. So these were the 2 major topics. So go through the presentation session. So watch it with complete concentration. Still, if you get any doubts with respect to any of the points I explained and covered, you can ping me with respect to your doubts. Thank you.